Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into the incredibly fast-paced, highly scientific reality of home water damage restoration. We're going way beyond the simple mops, buckets, and box fans you might picture when you think of a burst pipe. Instead, we're going to unpack the intense, completely precise building science that is absolutely required to save a structure before it literally rots from the inside out. Look at this number, 24 to 48. This is the crucial time frame that dictates literally everything in this industry. That's the exact number of hours it takes for a manageable, seemingly simple water leak to totally transform into a toxic mold infestation in your home. It's an incredibly tight window, right? And it proves that water damage isn't just a static event where things get wet, it's a rapidly evolving biological process. So it begs the question, when water invades your home, what's actually happening while you wait? As that 24 to 48-hour clock ticks down, what invisible destruction is going on deep inside your wall cavities, under those floorboards, and up in your attic? And maybe more importantly, how does professional building science step in to actually stop it?
Let's start with Section 1, When Disaster Strikes, and we're looking at Roseville's perfect storm.
To really grasp why this destruction happens so incredibly fast, we can use the specific environment of Roseville and the greater Sacramento area as our real-world case study. You know, the Mediterranean climate of this region creates a uniquely dangerous cycle for homes. First, you have these brutal 100-degree summers stretching on for months. This literally bakes the infrastructure. It dries out roofing materials and actually stresses pipe joints as everything expands and contracts. And then, boom, intense, sudden winter deluges arrive, those massive atmospheric rivers. This sudden rush of water violently exploits absolutely every single weakness that the dry heat just created, overwhelming gutters and pushing into cracked flashing instantly. And the danger really compounds when you add local geography and architecture to the mix. Expanding Placer County's clay essentially acts like a giant swelling sponge, literally crushing foundation walls and pushing water right into crawl spaces. Meanwhile, waterways like Dry Creek and Secret Ravine can flash flood with almost no warning. Add in the failing cast iron plumbing of 1970s neighborhoods, and a home's defenses are just constantly under siege. Even the brand new builds aren't totally immune. Improper grading can channel water directly into a brand new foundation. Now, it's not just the weather testing your home from the outside. Check out this number, 40. A standard water heater failing in your garage can dump 40 gallons of water across your finished living spaces in mere minutes. Imagine 40 milk jugs exploding all at once. That is a massive volume of liquid violently introducing itself to your drywall and baseboards without any warning whatsoever. Moving right along to Section 2, the immediate, invisible threat, the ticking clock of contamination. The second that water breaches your home, a chain reaction kicks off, and it worsens by the hour. A 60-minute response is absolutely vital here. You have to extract that standing water before it naturally wicks up your porous drywall like a sponge. Because, as we mentioned earlier, once you cross that 24 to 48-hour mark, microscopic mold spores are already colonizing and setting up shop inside those damp walls. Even if you manage to stop the water in time, you're still looking at day 3 to 7, which is the time required for intense, scientifically monitored structural drying to safely return the materials to their normal equilibrium moisture content. Which brings us perfectly to Section 3, the assessment phase, or the 3 categories of water. Before any of that structural drying can even start, restoration pros have to assess exactly what kind of water has invaded the property. Because in the eyes of building science, not all floods are created equal. The industry follows strict IICRC standards that classify water into 3 distinct categories. Category 1 is clean water, say from a burst supply line. That's a low initial hazard. But look at Category 3 down at the bottom, black water. We're talking sewage backups or river flood water. It dictates that a Category 1 clean pipe burst is handled completely differently than a highly toxic Category 3 situation, which requires extreme hazard protocols, containment barriers, and aggressive material removal. Misidentifying the water category is just a massive health hazard. All right, Section 4, the scientific response, because this is way more than just moving air around. Once the threat is categorized accurately, we shift from the absolute chaos of a flood into a highly methodical, controlled response. I absolutely love this concept. True restoration actually relies on psychrometrics. It's not just plugging in a fan and hoping for the best. It's the scientific study of the relationship between temperature, humidity, and moisture content. Technicians are actively calculating the specific humidity and grains per pound of moisture in the air to literally coax water out of structural framing. The whole goal is to evaporate that moisture at the exact right speed without overdrying and cracking the wood or underdrying and leaving a hidden breeding ground for mold.
So, how does that incredible science look in the real world? It's applied through a super strict protocol. First up, aggressive truck-mounted extraction that can literally pull thousands of gallons an hour, vastly outperforming your standard garage shop vac. Second, they map the hidden moisture. Third, they deploy industrial dehumidifiers while meticulously tracking daily drawing curves. And finally, precise reconstruction to bring the home exactly back to the way it was before the loss. And during that assessment phase, modern tech is a total game changer. Using FLIR thermal cameras allows them to detect hidden moisture inside walls, subfloors, and ceilings without requiring you to immediately start swinging a sledgehammer. It's kind of like X-ray vision for water damage. These advanced tools prevent the massive, incredibly costly mistake of drying only the surfaces you can see while completely missing the hidden saturation that quietly rots your home from the inside out.
Finally, let's wrap up with Section 5, the aftermath, navigating claims and recovery. Getting the physical water out of your house is really only half the battle. Managing the financial and logistical recovery is just as critical. Here's a pro tip. Insurance companies actually demand immediate mitigation. They will not cover secondary damage like mold if you just let the water sit there. Plus, utilizing professionals who use standardized software like Xmate ensures your claim is documented perfectly for the adjuster. Ultimately, acting fast and acting scientifically ensures you maintain the structural integrity of the house, which protects your home's ultimate resale value. So, as we close out this explainer, we come right back to where we started. Ignoring the water guarantees destruction. So I want you to ask yourself, if the clock started ticking on your home right this very second, and you only had 60 minutes to act, are you actually prepared to face the invisible science of water damage before it's too late? Thanks for joining me on this deep dive, and keep learning.